Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to completely rethink how we approach productivity, focus, and learning. If you've ever felt like your own time management tools are somehow working against your brain, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to take a calm, structured look at a concept called cognitive checkpoints. And honestly, by the end of this, the way you use a clock might just change forever. Okay, let's dive right into this. Imagine you're in the middle of just an incredible study session or coding sprint. You're reading some dense technical material, but for once, the ideas are connecting naturally. You completely understand the examples, you're making notes that actually make sense, and you are in a perfect state of flow. And then, bam, your timer rings. 25 minutes, or maybe 45 minutes, are up. So what happens next?
Well, for most of us, there are really two common, but honestly pretty flawed reactions to that alarm. Without even thinking, a lot of folks just immediately halt their work. They blindly stop, completely shattering that hard-earned flow state, even when their thinking is still crystal clear. And on the flip side, others do the exact opposite. They stubbornly ignore the timer altogether and just force themselves to push on and on, way past the point where their brain is actually absorbing anything useful. Neither of these choices feels quite right, does it? Section 1. The hidden assumption.
That nagging feeling that something's off means we really need to look at a quiet, simple rule that traditional productivity systems have been feeding us for years. You know the one. When the timer rings, you stop or you take a break. But that simplicity hides a massive, deeply flawed assumption. It assumes that every single person's brain hits the exact same stopping point at the exact same time. And come on, we all know real life doesn't work that way. It fluctuates. One day, 45 minutes of deep focus feels like an absolute breeze. But the next day, after just 25 minutes, your cognitive load is totally fried and your brain is practically crawling. Let's just pause on this realization for a second, because it's absolutely crucial. The timer only measures time. It doesn't measure your mind. When we blindly obey the clock, we're basically prioritizing the measurement of time over the measurement of our actual real-time cognitive performance. Section 2. The dashboard metaphor. So, if the timer isn't this rigid, immovable boundary, what exactly is it? Well, the real magic happens when you stop treating the timer as a struct command and start treating it as a gentle reminder. It's a fundamental mindset shift. We're moving from seeing the timer as your boss to seeing the timer as your assistant. It isn't there to dictate your life. It's just there to tap you on the shoulder and remind you to ask, hey, how is my brain actually performing right now? Think of it like the dashboard in a modern car. That alarm going off, it's exactly like the check engine warning light lighting up. It's telling you to check your cognitive engine. It definitely doesn't grab the steering wheel out of your hands and tell you how to drive. And it doesn't force you to pull over immediately if the car is actually running perfectly fine under the hood. It just prompts you to check your internal systems. Section 3. The cognitive checkpoint. So how do we take this whole dashboard philosophy and turn it into a practical, everyday solution that actually cures the pain of those broken flow states? We use something called a cognitive checkpoint. And the crucial point here is the definition itself. A cognitive checkpoint is simply a scheduled moment to observe your current cognitive performance. Notice the emphasis there. It is absolutely not an automatic end to your study session. Instead, it's a decision point. It's a moment of active observation, not an automatic termination. Whenever you hit one of these checkpoints, you just run through a quick introspective mental checklist to gauge how your mind is doing. Ask yourself, am I still actually understanding what I'm reading? Am I solving problems clearly? Am I making useful connections naturally? Or am I kind of just blindly rereading the exact same paragraph over and over without processing a single word? You're essentially just actively gathering data on your own brain. Section 4. The decision framework. Now let's see how all that observation builds into a really simple but incredibly effective decision flow. Step 1, the timer rings. Step 2, you enter your checkpoint observation, meaning you ask yourself those quick internal questions we just talked about. And step 3, you take action based on your actual performance, not the clock. If your thinking is still sharp and effective, you continue. If you're noticing signs of cognitive decline, well, you begin wrapping up. And the cool part is, sometimes you don't even need to stop completely. You can just switch gears to a lower energy task. Your real-time observation dictates your natural next move. And this brilliantly illustrates how totally versatile this checkpoint system is across so many different fields. If you're coding, a checkpoint helps you figure out if that debugging session is actually still productive, or if you're just spinning your wheels and need to step away. If you're reading, it helps you catch the exact second you go from deeply understanding ideas to just mindlessly flipping pages. Or if you're creating content,
It reminds you to protect your creative energy instead of forcing it way past the point of diminishing returns. You pause, you evaluate, and you make an informed choice.
Section 5, redefining real discipline.
Ultimately, this really elevates what we're looking at today from a simple time management hack into a much broader, genuinely empowering philosophy for how we work. We almost always think of discipline as following a timer perfectly, right? Sitting at our desks until the clock strikes zero no matter what. But true discipline isn't about blind obedience to arbitrary rules. Real discipline is paying attention. Some days, true discipline means having the focus to just keep going when you are totally in the zone. Other days, discipline is having the humility to wrap things up when you're exhausted. And sometimes it means having the self-awareness to switch tasks. Making those calls requires deep self-awareness, not a ticking clock.
Which brings us to our final and probably most important takeaway. Don't let the timer make your decisions. Let it remind you to make better ones. By treating time as an indicator rather than this strict instructor, you completely transform the clock from a boss you passively obey into vital, real-time feedback you can actually use. So I leave you with this. The next time your alarm rings, what decision are you going to make?